Myers Jaffe, and I'm Executive Director for Energy and Sustainability at University of California, Davis, and I'm a Senior Advisor to the University of California's Office of the Chief Investment Officer. I spoke today at GARP 2017 about the risks facing the oil market. You know, the first step to making the right decisions, of course, is having the right information available to the public, right? So we're talking about, in the United States, for example, having a massive investment in infrastructure. That'll definitely create jobs. It's certainly needed in the United States. But the infrastructure around energy and transportation needs to take a 30-year view, because that is how long the infrastructure lasts, or longer. Right? So if we spend $1 trillion investing in today's transportation system, and it turns out that the transportation system of the future is going to look completely different, then we will have invested poorly our tax dollars. So it really requires people, I mean, in my opinion, more than any other decade I've seen looking at energy and looking back in history by reading, this is a time when you almost need a futurist, right, to really think about how to invest wisely. You know, we can see the technologies that are coming down the pike. We can't just reject technologies, because other countries are going to embrace those technologies. They may have different reasons, different labor force requirements, different social needs, or just they might be a totalitarian system and they're just going to do what they think is best for, you know, the ruling class. I mean, they're just different dynamics. And so it actually is going to take a lot of forward-looking ability to make the right decision. And I tell people this by way of analogy so that everyone can understand this. You don't have to be a risk professional to understand the concept. People say, hey, listen, these crazy technologies coming out of Silicon Valley, they're too expensive. And they don't have meaning for regular people, right? And we don't need to have a self-driving car. And, you know, if you have a self-driving truck, that's just going to eliminate, you know, millions of jobs, right? So why are we even pursuing that? So this is what I tell people. Let's say we collectively in the United States make the decision, we're going to reject these technologies. So let me make it by analogy. Suppose the President of the United States, whoever he was, decided that it's much more important to have jobs. All these new technologies create unacceptable cyber risk to you know, non-governmental actors, you know, criminal elements, terrorists. Let's all go back to landlines in the United States. And suppose we had a referendum, and the majority of people in the United States said, you know what, you're absolutely right. The hell with it. Let's all go back to landlines. I can get a landline for $25. My phone bill can be $25 a month. Instead of spending, you know, excess between $200 and $700 for a smartphone, and, you know, having my phone bill, if I have no discipline, be, you know, $200 or $300 a month. Like, let's go back to $50 a month. I mean, think of all the disposable income we'd have if, as a nation, we just decide to go back to landlines. The problem is, why would millennials in any other country agree to imitate us? You know, the bottom line is, your smartphone, the reason you're paying that extra money is because it's a superior technology. It's giving you services that having a landline doesn't provide. You like those services. You're using those services. One might add you're using those services even with the unbelievable risk that's associated with them, it's worth it to you because the technology is so superior in improving your lifestyle that you're willing to put up with all the risk. So if the United States goes back to landlines and you're Apple as a company, you're going to pivot, right? You're not going to go out of business and shut down. You're going to move your business to Asia, or you're going to move your business to Europe, or you're going to move your business across other markets where people are still using the smartphone. Given the fact that it's a superior technology, what are the chances that it's just going to die out? I mean, what's going to happen is the United States is going to fall behind because all of the productivity gain that's going to come because everybody has these apps and everybody's vehicles are more efficient and everybody's supply chains are cheaper and all those things that happen are going to make them be much more productive, growing economy, we're going to have a stagnant economy. So we can't really just say, hey, that's it. Let's just stop using all these technologies. Let's just kill it, right? Because it's not going to die out because it's going to be productive somewhere else. So we have to cope with that, and we have to think about that. So since the analogy in telecommunications is so obvious to people, why you have a smartphone, even though it's more expensive, what I would say to you is that in cars and in energy, when these superior technologies become available, why would you choose to have just a regular car because it's cheaper? Like over time, people are going to want a car that's going to do all these different things, right? I mean, you're going to have the choice. You don't feel like going to the gasoline station. You only go into the bank. You just plug the car into your garage for 10 minutes and then go to the bank. It doesn't even matter what your fuel level is in your car because there are going to be cars that you can run on both electricity and gasoline. Then you can choose what's more convenient, right? And suppose your car is integrated with your smartphone and you can just instruct it to call your mother and then she's on the speakerphone, and you're not even having to steer, so you don't have to worry about being distracted. Like, that's a pretty good technology. Like, you're having to drive somewhere for an hour and you can call everybody you know by voice command and you don't have to worry about it distracting you from steering because you're not steering.